The battlefield was quiet. Smoke rose from broken ships and burning machines. Bodies of aliens and soldiers lay still on the cold ground. Only one figure walked through the mess, a tall woman with black skin that shimmered like metal. Her eyes were sharp, glowing silver. Her name was Zira, and she was death itself. She moved slowly, with no fear. Every time someone tried to stop her, she only needed to touch them. 1 second dead. No screams, no blood, just silence. Her touch was a weapon. No one had ever survived it. The alien soldiers who saw her ran in fear. Even their strongest warriors didn't dare fight her. She wasn't born. She was created. A weapon made by the Zarn, a secret alien race that ruled from the shadows. They made her to kill anyone who stood in their way, and now Zira had a new target. She stood in front of a silver door deep inside the enemy base. Her mission was clear: kill the human ambassador. His name was Eli Grant. He was trying to make peace between humans and alien worlds. The Zarn didn't want peace. They wanted control. Zira raised her hand. The door hissed open. Inside the room, Eli sat at a small table. He was reading a message on a glowing screen. He looked up, surprised but not afraid. "You're not one of ours," he said. Zira stepped in without a word. Eli stood slowly. "Are you here to talk or to kill me?" Zira didn't answer. She walked forward and reached out her hand. Her fingers touched his neck. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Nothing happened. Zira's eyes widened. She pulled her hand back like she had touched fire. Eli blinked. "Is that supposed to hurt?" Zira didn't understand. This had never happened before. Her touch always killed. Always she reached out again. Touched his hand. Still nothing. Eli felt warm. Alive. Zira took a step back. This is wrong," she whispered. Eli frowned. "Are you okay?" Zira turned and ran. She didn't know why. She had never failed. And now she had touched the target's hand. He was still alive. She opened a secret device in her wrist. A cold voice answered. "Report." "I touched him," Zira said. "He did not die." There was silence on the other end. "Repeat that," the voice said. "He did not die," she repeated. "I touched him, twice." "That is impossible," the voice growled. "Return immediately. We'll test your systems. You may be compromised." Zira felt something strange in her chest. Fear, shame. No, she didn't feel things. She wasn't supposed to. She shut the off and looked back at the door. Eli hadn't followed her. She had to know the truth. Back in the room, Eli sat down again, confused. He touched the spot on his neck where she had touched him. Tingled a little, but he felt fine. He had seen her face, cold, empty. But when her power didn't work, he saw fear. Just for a second. Who was she? Before he could think more, the door opened again. Zira returned. "I need to ask you something," she said. Eli raised an eyebrow. "Tried to kill me? Now you want to talk?" "Yes." He stood slowly. "Okay, go ahead." Zira looked into his eyes. "Have you ever been in contact with alien technology? Strange experiments? Anything unusual?" Eli laughed softly. "I'm a human diplomat. Of course I've been around aliens. I visited 7 alien planets. I even shook hands with a mind-eater once." "Did they touch your skin?" Zira asked quickly. "Yes," Eli said. "They scanned me." "Why?" Zira stared at her hand. Her fingers were shaking. "My touch kills all life," she said. "Except you." Eli looked at her, more serious now. "Maybe I'm just lucky." "No," Zira said. "Luck does not exist." Suddenly her eyes snapped to the wall. Her light was blinking. Red. A signal. "They're coming," she said. "Who?" Eli asked. "My creators, the Zarn. They know I failed." Eli frowned. "What will they do?" "They will kill both of us," Zira said calmly. "Wait." "I didn't do anything," Eli started. "You lived," Zira interrupted. She turned and opened a hidden door behind the wall. "Come with me," she said. "I need you alive to find out why you survived." Eli hesitated. "And if I say no?" Zira looked him in the eyes. "Then they will kill you." And me. And maybe your whole planet. Eli sighed. Great, let's go then. They ran into the shadows as alarms began to ring. Cliffhanger ending. As they disappeared into the dark tunnel, high above them in space, a massive black ship uncloaked. Its shape was like a floating dagger, silent and deadly, inside the ship. A tall figure watched a screen. Zira has failed, he said. Another voice replied coldly. Send the hunters. No one escapes the Zarn. Deep inside the moon tunnels, Zira and Eli Grant ran through the dark. The walls were made of old metal, cracked and dusty. This place hadn't been used in years. Zira walked in front, fast and silent. Eli followed, his heart beating like a drum. Where are we going? He asked, breathing hard. Somewhere safe, Zira said. For now, they stopped inside a large chamber. It looked like a small lab. Broken machines, faded alien symbols, and glowing wires hung from the ceiling. Zira turned and faced him. I need to understand, she said. Why you didn't die. Eli nodded. I'd like to know that too. Zira walked over to an old machine. She pressed a few buttons. The screen flickered on. I will scan your DNA, she said. Wait, is that safe? Eli asked. Zira looked at him. I've killed hundreds. You're asking me now if something is safe? Fair point, Eli muttered. He sat down. Zira placed a cold device on his arm. It hummed softly. The screen filled with symbols and lines. Zira stared at the data. It's true, she whispered. You have a code hidden deep in your DNA. It matches part of mine. Eli blinked. What does that mean? You're connected to me, Zira said. Somehow. Maybe your ancestors were part of the experiment that made me, so I'm like your long-lost cousin. Eli joked. Zoo didn't laugh. This is not funny. It means something dangerous. It means I was not just made to kill humans. I was made using them. Eli's face grew serious. You were built in a lab? Zira nodded slowly. The Zarn created me. It's not born, not natural. I was a weapon. No name, no past. Just missions. Eli looked at her carefully. Do you even want to be a weapon? Zira didn't answer. She looked at her hand, the same hand that had taken hundreds of lives. Now it couldn't even kill one human. Maybe that was a good thing. Suddenly, the ground shook. Boom, boom. Zira's eyes narrowed. They're here. Eli stood up fast. The Zarn? No, Zira said. Worse, the hunters. From above, sharp. Sounds echoed through the tunnel's footsteps, clicking metal and a low humming noise. Then silence. Zira turned off the lights. Stay quiet. They waited. Then something slammed the lab door open. 3 tall alien assassins entered. Their bodies were thin like blades. Their eyes glowed red. Their hands sparked with purple energy. Zira once said in a cold voice. You have broken your code. Zira stepped forward, calm and still. I didn't fail. I evolved. You touched a human. He lived, the alien hissed. That is weakness. Zira raised her hand. So is underestimating me. At the fight began. Zira moved like lightning. She blocked the first attack and flipped backward. Her hand grazed one hunter's neck. He dropped instantly. Eli watched in shock. She was fast to follow. She spun, kicked, dodged. But there were 2 more hunters. One slashed her side. She cried out, Zira. Eli shouted. Blood dripped down her arm. It wasn't red. It was black. Thick, like oil. One hunter raised his blade to strike her. Again, Eli jumped in and grabbed her, pulling her behind a machine. We need to run, he said. I can't. They'll follow. I don't care. Eli shouted. You're not dying. Today, he grabbed her bleeding arm. Let me help. Zira froze. Don't touch me. My blood. But it was too late. Eli pressed his hand against her wound. Something strange happened. The bleeding stopped. Zira looked down. Her skin closed. Her pain faded. She looked at Eli, confused. You healed me? Eli blinked. I did. Zira looked at her hand again. Then at him. "You're not just immune to my touch," she said. "You make me stronger." More footsteps. Came the last hunter was near. Zyra grabbed Eli's hand. "Let's finish this together." Cliffhanger ending. In the shadows above the moon, the Zarn Emperor watched the battle on a large screen. Behind him stood dozens of tubes each holding a figure like Zyra, floating in green liquid. The Emperor smiled. "She is waking up," he said softly. "But she is just one," a voice replied. The Emperor nodded. "Yes, but soon. There will be hundreds." The tunnel lights flickered as the last hunter stepped into the room. His metal boots clicked on the floor. His long arms ended in glowing blades. His eyes locked on Zyra. "You are broken," he said in a cold voice. Zyra stood tall, blood drying. On her skin, Eli stood beside her, still holding her hand. "I'm not broken," Zyra said. "I'm free." The hunter rushed forward. Zyra moved fast. She grabbed a piece of broken metal and blocked the blade. Sparks flew. The hunter swung again. She ducked. She kicked hard, sending him flying across the room. But he stood back up, laughing. "You forget, Zyra," he hissed. "We were trained. Together, I know all your moves." Zyra's eyes narrowed. "Then let me show you a new one." Eli threw her a weapon, an old alien staff with a pulse core still glowing. Zyra caught it and slammed the staff into the floor. Boom. A shockwave knocked the hunter back. Zyra jumped, spinning midair, and struck him hard across the chest. His armor cracked. She landed. This time, the hunter didn't just die. He melted. Eli stared in shock. What was that? Zyra's hand glowed faintly blue. "Something new," she said. "Your touch. It changed me." She looked at her hand. "I can control it now." Later. They hid inside a dark storage room beneath the moon's surface. Old crates and alien tech surrounded them. Eli sat on a crate, catching his breath. Zyra looked at him carefully. "You didn't run," she said. "Didn't really have time," Eli replied. "No," she said. "I mean back there. When I bled. When I fought. You stayed." "Why?" Eli shrugged. "Because you didn't kill me, and because I don't think you want to." Zyra sat across from him. "No one ever saw me like this before." "Like what? Alive?" she said. "Not just deadly for a moment." The silence was warm. Eli smiled a little. "Maybe you're more than a weapon." Zyra looked away. Her voice was soft. "I don't know who I am anymore." Suddenly, the wall beeped. A light blinked. A signal. Zyra walked to a panel and pressed a few buttons. An old alien data log played. A voice spoke in a strange language. Zyra translated aloud. "Experiment 19A. Hybrid design. Subject Zyra. Human DNA sample 479 successfully bonded with weapon strain. Goal. Create perfect assassin. Human compatible. Emergency code. Subject must not return to Earth." Eli's eyes widened. "Wait, why not return to Earth?" Zyra turned slowly. "Because they think I'm a risk. Maybe I carry something deadly." Stood. "Like what? A virus?" "Maybe," Zyra said. "Or maybe something worse." Suddenly, the power shut off. Everything went dark. Above the moon, in the Zarn Emperor's ship, the Emperor stared at a hologram. "Zyra is still alive," he said. "And the human has touched her blood." Another voice spoke behind him. "Do you want us to destroy them?" "No," the Emperor said. "Bring them back alive." "Why?" The Emperor turned slowly. His face was covered in a mask of dark crystal. His eyes glowed yellow. "Because they may be the key to activating Project Omega." Back on the moon, Zyra grabbed Eli's arm. "We have to move," she said. "There's something deeper down here. Something hidden." They crawled through a small tunnel, past rusted metal and wires. Zyra stopped at a large steel door. She pressed her palm against the scanner. Beeped. The door hissed open. Inside was a giant chamber filled with tanks, and in those tanks floated others. Aliens, soldiers, some human, a wired. Eli gasped. "What is this?" Zyra's face turned pale. "This is where they made me." Cliffhanger ending. Suddenly, one of the tanks started to drain. A figure inside opened its glowing red eyes. Zyra stepped back. "No," she whispered. "That one is stronger than me." The glass tank hissed. Thick mist spilled out. A tall figure stepped forward, eyes glowing red, metal skin shining under the pale lights. Zyra stared at it, frozen. "Who is that?" Eli whispered. Zyra's voice was low. "His name is Corin. He was the first, the strongest, the one I was meant to replace." Corin stepped out, wires falling from his back. He looked at Zyra with cold eyes. "You were weak," he said. "You let the human live." Zyra stepped in front of Eli. "He's not my enemy." Corin tilted his head. "Then you are." In a flash he struck. Zyra blocked, but barely. The power of his hit sent her crashing into a wall. "Zyra!" Eli shouted. She stood up, her body sparking. "You'll have to do better than that." They fought fast, brutal. Sparks flew, metal cracked, the chamber shook. Corin's hits were heavy. Each one could break stone. Zyra moved with skill, but Corin was stronger, faster, trained without mercy. Eli ran to a control panel. He didn't know what he was doing, but he started pressing buttons. Something blinked on the screen. DNA control system. Link detected a strange light scanned him. Zyra threw a punch. Corin caught her hand. He lifted her by the neck. "You forgot your purpose," he growled. Then he froze. His body shook. Saurat dropped to the ground, gasping. Koran turned toward Eli, eyes burning. "You, Adieu. Your DNA is in the command chain." Eli blinked. "The what?" Zyra stood slowly, her voice full of shock. "You can control him." Corin roared, fighting the command in his head. "You're the source," he growled. "Your blood started the project. You're part of the core code." Eli stepped back. "That can't be true." Zyra touched his arm.
"It is."
"That's why. You survived my touch. Why your blood healed me. They used your DNA to build us."
Eli
Looked around at the other tanks. How many others were made like you?" Zyra whispered. "Thousands." Corin's body began to shift. His voice changed, low, strange, robotic, code broken, emergency reset. Zyra's eyes widened. "He's activating self-control mode. He's erasing the DNA chain. You have to stop him," Eli said. Zyra ran forward. She jumped onto Corin's back and slammed her palm into his head. Nothing happened. "He locked his system," she said. Eli grabbed a loose wire and jammed it into the control panel. Sparks flew. "Do something now," he yelled. Said. Wire touched Corin again this time. His eyes flickered. His body jerked. Then dash stillness. Korran fell dead. The chamber was quiet. Eli sat down, breathing hard. "I just fought a super weapon with wires and panic." Zyra gave a small smile. "You did well." She walked toward the other tanks. "They'll wake up too, one by one, if we don't stop it."
Wilverts waters regressives.
"Can we shut the whole place down?" Zyra nodded. "Maybe, but the main core is beneath this lab, guarded, hidden." They opened a door at the far end of the chamber. Inside, a dark tunnel led downward. Eli looked at it, frowning. "Why do I feel like it gets worse from here?" Zyra didn't answer. She looked back once more at the tank where Corin had been. "He was like me once," she said. "But they made him forget who he was, what he felt." Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "You still remember?" Zyra nodded. "Because of you." Far above, in the Zarn ship, the Emperor stood at a new screen. A scientist spoke behind him. He found the source of the DNA, the human, The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Good. Bring him to me. But what of Zyra? The scientist asked. She's not the danger anymore, the Emperor said. The human is. Cliffhanger ending. As Zyra and Eli reached the bottom of the tunnel, they found a massive black door with glowing lines across it. Warning flashed above in old alien text. Zyra translated, Project Omega Core. Do not enter without authority. Door began to open, and behind it, something live started to move. The huge black door slid open with a deep hiss. Cold air poured out, and everything inside was dark. Zyra and Eli stepped in slowly. The room was massive, like the size of a stadium. Giant cables hung from the ceiling. Machines pulsed with dim red lights. In the center stood a huge glass pod. Inside it floated something big. Eli stared. Is that a person? Zyra shook her head. Oh, that's not a person. That's Project Omega. The figure inside was over 3 meters tall, muscles like steel. Its body was part alien, part machine and part human. Tubes ran through its skin. Its heart glowed like fire. Eli stepped closer. Why does it look like me? Zyra's voice was low. Because it was made using your DNA. The purest form. You're not just the source, you're the pattern. Suddenly, the pod beeped. Warning. Core activation detected. Zyra's eyes widened. It's waking up. Above, deep in space, the Zarn Emperor watched. The time has come, he said. Wake, Omega. Let the humans see what his blood has built. Zarn officer pressed a glowing button. Project Omega. Online. Back in the chamber, the pod cracked. Steam hissed out. The giant figure inside opened its glowing blue eyes. Zyra stepped in front of Eli. The creature stared at them. Then it spoke. I am Omega, designed to survive all. Built from the perfect code. The voice was deep, echoing, cold. Zyra raised her hand. Shut it down. It's not stable. Eli stepped forward, nervous. Can it hear me? Can I control it? Omega looked at him. You are the base pattern, the original. But I am the final form. Are you going to attack us? Eli asked. Omega paused. No, it said, unless you try to stop me. Zyra tensed. Stop you from doing what? Omega turned slowly toward the far wall. A massive door lit up, leading to a launch tunnel aimed directly at Earth. I was created to end war, Omega said. But peace is not possible until all threats are removed? Eli's face dropped. You're going to destroy Earth? Omega nodded once. Not destroy. Reset. Build it new, without weakness. Zyra growled. That's not your choice to make. Omega stepped forward. The floor shook under its weight. I am not asking, it said. It raised one arm. Cannon formed from its wrist. Zyra grabbed Eli and pulled him behind cover just as Omega fired. Boom. The shot hit the wall, sending dust and fire everywhere. They ran through the tunnels, dodging blasts. Omega was slow but powerful. Each step shook the base. Zyra opened a side panel. There's a power cord deep under this room. If we blow it, we can stop Omega. Eli hesitated. Will it kill you too? Zyra didn't answer. He grabbed her arm. Will it? She looked at him. If it has to. Eli's jaw clenched. No, there has to be another way. They reached the core room. It glowed bright blue, humming with energy. Zyra set the overload timer. We have 5 minutes. But just then, Omega crashed through the wall. Too slow, it said. Zyra fought it. She moved fast, hitting, dodging, flipping, but Omega was almost unbreakable. It grabbed her and threw her into the wall. Eli rushed forward. Stop! Omega froze again just for a second. Don't forget, Eli shouted. I'm part of you. You came from me. If you hurt her, you go against your code. Omega blinked. Something flickered in its eyes. Zyra stood slowly. He's right. You're not just a weapon. You're part human. Like me. Omega's arm dropped then. What am I? Zyra walked forward. You can choose. Cliffhanger ending. Suddenly, an alarm rang. Zarn ship entering Earth's orbit. Zyra turned to Eli. They're not going to wait. If we don't stop Omega now, the Zarn will finish the job. Eli looked at Omega. Will you help us? Omega paused. Said, only if you tell me who I really am. The huge black door slid open with a deep hiss. Cold air poured out, and everything inside was dark. Zyra and Eli stepped in slowly. The room was massive, like the size of a stadium. Giant cables hung from the ceiling. Machines pulsed with dim red lights. In the center stood a huge glass pod. Inside it floated something big. Eli stared. Is that a person? Zyra shook her head. Oh, that's not a person. That's Project Omega. The figure inside was over 3 meters tall, muscles like steel. Its body was part alien, part machine and part human. Tubes ran through its skin. Its heart glowed like fire. Eli stepped closer. Why does it look like me? Zyra's voice was low. Because it was made using your DNA. The purest form. You're not just the source, you're the pattern. Suddenly, the pod beeped. Warning, core activation detected. Zyra's eyes widened. It's waking up. Above, deep in space, the Zarn Emperor watched. The time has come, he said. Wake, Omega. Let the humans see what his blood has built. Zarn officer pressed a glowing button. Project Omega. Online. Back in the chamber, the pod cracked. Steam hissed out. The giant figure inside opened its glowing blue eyes. Zyra stepped in front of Eli. The creature stared at them. Then it spoke. I am Omega, designed to survive all. Built from the perfect code. The voice was deep, echoing, cold. Zyra raised her hand. Shut it down. It's not stable. Eli stepped forward, nervous. Can it hear me? Can I control it? Omega looked at him. You are the base pattern, the original. But I am the final form. Are you going to attack us? Eli asked. Omega paused. No, it said, unless you try to stop me. Zyra tensed. Stop you from doing what? Omega turned slowly toward the far wall. A massive door lit up, leading to a launch tunnel aimed directly at Earth. I was created to end war, Omega said. But peace is not possible until all threats are removed? Eli's face dropped. You're going to destroy Earth? Omega nodded once. Not destroy. Reset. Build it new, without weakness. Zyra growled. That's not your choice to make. Omega stepped forward. The floor shook under its weight. I am not asking, it said. It raised one arm. Cannon formed from its wrist. Zyra grabbed Eli and pulled him behind cover just as Omega fired. Boom. The shot hit the wall, sending dust and fire everywhere. They ran through the tunnels, dodging blasts. Omega was slow but powerful. Each step shook the base. Zyra opened a side panel. There's a power cord deep under this room. If we blow it, we can stop Omega. Eli hesitated. Will it kill you too? Zyra didn't answer. He grabbed her arm. Will it? She looked at him. If it has to. Eli's jaw clenched. No, there has to be another way. They reached the core room. It glowed bright blue, humming with energy. Zyra set the overload timer. We have 5 minutes. But just then, Omega crashed through the wall. Too slow, it said. Zyra fought it. She moved fast, hitting, dodging, flipping, but Omega was almost unbreakable. It grabbed her and threw her into the wall. Eli rushed forward. Stop! Omega froze again just for a second. Don't forget, Eli shouted. I'm part of you. You came from me. If you hurt her, you go against your code. Omega blinked. Something flickered in its eyes. Zyra stood slowly. He's right. You're not just a weapon. You're part human, like me. Omega's arm dropped. Then, what am I? Zyra walked forward. You can choose. Cliffhanger ending. Suddenly an alarm rang. Zyra Churn entering Earth's orbit. Zyra turned to Eli. They're not going to wait. If we don't stop Omega now, the Zarn will finish the job. Eli looked at Omega. Will you help us? Omega paused, said, "Only if you tell me who I really am." The blast of light faded. The Zarn Emperor stumbled back. Smoke rising from his chest armor, Omega stood tall, his eyes glowing white, no longer under control. "You lost me," Omega said. "I belong to something greater now." Spira and Eli stood behind him. "Ready," the Emperor growled, voice full of rage. "You were built for war. You cannot run from what you are." Omega stepped forward. "You're right. I was built for war." He clenched his fist. "But now, I fight for them." The battle began. Zarn soldiers rushed into the bridge, weapons firing. Blaster shots lit up the room. Omega charged straight. Tearing through metal walls and armor with powerful strikes, Zyra moved like wind, dodging, flipping, striking. She fought with skill and speed, disabling Zarn soldiers without killing them. Eli stayed low, using the stolen blaster, covering Zyra's blind spots. Left side. He yelled. Zyra turned, dodged, kicked. "Thanks." Omega tore open a wall panel and pulled out a glowing red core. He threw it across the room. That was the gravity stabilizer. Eli blinked. "Wait. What?" Suddenly the ship tilted sideways. Everything began to float. Soldiers, crates, weapons all weightless. Zyra grabbed Eli's arm. "Nice throw, Omega." Meanwhile, in the Zarn control bunker, the Emperor activated a secret code. Unlocked the vault. Released the elite guard. Metal doors opened deep inside. The ship, 4 massive warriors, stepped out. Bigger than Zyra, faster than normal, Zern, eyes glowing red, target Omega. Back in the hallway, the elite guard appeared. Omega turned. "They are my replacements," Zyra whispered. "Can you beat them?" Omega replied. "Let's find out." He charged into the fight. The elite guard attacked all at once. Blades, energy whips, and plasma claws. Omega took damage as arms sparked. Chest cracked, but he didn't fall. Zyra helped, striking with perfect hits. Eli used the hallway's emergency controls to lock doors and trap guards. But one of the elites sliced open Omega's side. Sparks flew. "Fall, machine," it hissed. Omega roared and grabbed it by the neck. "I am not just a machine," he crushed. The others paused. Z, Y, R, A, and Eli stood at his side. "Together," Omega said, and together they won. On the bridge, the Emperor watched everything fall apart. He turned to flee, but Zyra appeared in front of him. "You hurt too many," she said. He raised a weapon, but Omega stepped in, taking the hit, protecting Zyra. "You can't stop me," the Emperor shouted. Eli walked forward. "We already did." He pressed a button on the control panel. Self-destruct countdown started. 5 minutes. The Emperor's face twisted in shock. "No." Omega grabbed him. "You end here." With a final punch, Omega knocked him out cold. Alarms rang. The Zarn ship shook. Eli yelled, "We need to get out now." They ran through fire, smoke, and chaos, reaching their small ship. As they launched, the Zarn flagship exploded behind them, blazing like a second sun. Back on Earth, the skies cleared. People looked up, afraid at first, but then they cheered. The enemy was gone. In the ship, Eli leaned back, exhausted. Xira sat beside him. "You okay?" He nodded. "Barely." Omega sat across from them, damaged, armor cracked, but alive. "You saved Earth," Eli said. Omega looked at him. "We saved Earth." Cliffhanger ending. As they flew through Earth's atmosphere, a silent message played inside Omega's mind. "Omega Unit 02 detected. Signal active. Location unknown." He frowned. "There's another one." Zyra looked at him. "Another Omega." Eli sighed. "Guess it's not over yet." The ship landed quietly on Earth, just outside a ruined human base. Smoke still rose in the distance from old battles. Eli stepped onto the ground. Breathing fresh air for the first time in days, Zyra followed, eyes scanning the sky. Omega stood still, his armor still cracked, his body humming low, but his eyes were different now, calmer? Zyra asked, "Are you sure you're okay?" Omega nodded slowly. "I feel clearer, but the signal hasn't stopped." Eli checked the console. "It's real. Another Omega unit is alive, somewhere in the wastes." One last mission, the three of them took a land cruiser across the broken desert. Cities lay in ruins. Human outposts were quiet. The world had survived, but barely, after hours of travel. They reached a hidden crater. In the center stood a metal tower, old, silent, and glowing. Omega's voice was low. "This was the original lab where I was born." Zira narrowed her eyes. "Then that means the ground shook from the shadows. Something massive rose, not a copy of Omega, a darker version, black armor, red eyes, sharper claws. No trace of humanity in its face. Omega Unit 02. The final Omega, the Dark Omega, looked at them and spoke in a cold, robotic voice. "Unit 01 is infected. Emotion is a virus." Omega stepped forward. "Emotion is what makes us alive." Unit 02 raised its arm and fired. Omega blocked the shot, barely. Zyra rolled to the side and fired back. Eli scrambled to a high point, using the wreckage to gain ground. The two Omega units clashed blow after blow, shaking the crater. Metal cracked, sparks flew. The ground split open, but the Dark Omega was faster, stronger, colder. "You are weak," it hissed. "You protect humans." You feel Omega's body sparked. He fell to one knee. Eli shouted, "Get up, you're not just code anymore." Zyra threw Omega a plasma blade. He caught it, then stood tall. "I feel that's why I'll win." With a roar, he charged. The final strike, the fight was brutal. But Omega fought differently now. Not like a weapon, like a warrior. He dodged the cold Omega's attacks, using speed instead of strength. Zyra distracted it with blaster fire. Eli hacked the tower's systems, forcing energy surges through the floor. Then, Omega struck one final blow straight into Unit 02's core. A bright flash. A loud scream. Then silence. The Dark Omega collapsed, sparks fading, code dissolving into dust. The choice as the tower crumbled. A console blinked. "Backup file ready. Do you wish to copy your memory into new units?" Omega stared at it. Zyra said, "Softly, you could live forever. Copy yourself. Stay a weapon." Omega looked at Eli. "What do you think?" Eli smiled. "I think you already chose who you are." Omega pressed a button. Delete backup. The console shut down. No copies, no more weapons, just one. Omega final scene, the three of them stood outside, watching the sun rise. Earth was damaged but free. Zira looked up. "What happens now?" Eli smiled. "We rebuild." Omega stood between them. "I was made to end life," he said. "Now, I'll help create it." Walked into the dawn together. A killer, a survivor, a human. No longer weapons now. Family.